It's the Elizabeth Alfano Show. Thanks for joining me, everybody, right here on WCGO. I've got health nutritionists with me today, registered dietitians and nutritionists, James Marin and Dahlia Marin, Married to Health. You guys, thanks for being with me.
Oh, thank you for having us.
I like to give people some quick health tips that they can take home with them. First of all, you guys help people by adjusting their diet such that food is really medicine to keep them healthy. But I think the crux of what you do is all about having that good microbiome in your gut. Maybe take us a step back. What does that mean?
Right. Yeah. So there is what we like to say a galaxy made up of these small universes within our gut. So in this galaxy, we call it the body microbiome, and we also have the gut microbiome. We have the oral microbiome and the lung microbiome. So specifically, even in the gut microbiome, it's made up of bacteria, it's made up of protozoa, it's made up of archaea, viruses, even, which is a big hot topic. And so all of these little universes are working together to essentially keep us alive and healthy. So that is essentially the gut microbiome.
So it's a good thing when you say microbes and viruses. This is a good thing in our gut, or actually in our entire body. Maybe talk to me about how our food choices affect our gut biome, our gut microbes, I guess, and what would be good for us and what would be bad for us.
Totally. Absolutely. So we're starting to do more and more evidence-based, peer-reviewed research on this. A lot of times we've heard people say, and for hundreds of years we said food is medicine, and we know for the microbiome absolutely can have a huge impact, and you are what you eat. And that really speaks volumes, because what we now know is, we've talked before about this gut-brain connection, and a lot of people talk about it. Now we're starting to understand the impact of that. About 60 to 70% of our neurotransmitters are created in the gut. And so it's not just our brain that controls our cravings, it's our microbes. When we are eating inflammatory foods, or those that generate inflammation, you will have more inflammatory microbes. And that is going to then tell your brain to create more of those neurotransmitters that want and crave more of those other inflammatory foods. If you're eating anti-inflammatory foods, again, that's going to decrease inflammation and reduce cravings for those. So what are some inflammatory foods? We know animal products can be highly inflammatory, especially those that are factory farmed and raised in CAFOs, which I know you and a lot of your colleagues have talked a lot about in these wet markets. And then we also see that highly processed foods, so things that are highly, highly processed and what we call highly palatable foods, things that have refined sugar, refined grains, tons of excess salt, tons of excess oil, those also tend to create a little bit more of an inflammatory microbiome, in addition to things like alcohol and smoking and other things. And what are anti-inflammatory? An abundance of a variety of colored plant foods. So that's really what we highly recommend. Increased amounts of fiber in the diet, especially fruits, vegetables, nuts, grains, beans, legumes, just an abundance of those to feed those anti-inflammatory microbes.
Wonderful. So I love this, because all of these things are right in our control. You don't have to go to the doctor. You don't have to get blood work done even, although I'm sure that helps. And we can talk about that in a second. But, you don't have to go in some very expensive tests and trials. And you just start with the food right at your fingertips, which is really this whole foods, plant-based diet. So how would you know? Because I think a lot of people think they eat healthier than they actually eat.
Yes.
So how do you know? Can we read our gut? Like, without doing testing, can we read our gut? How would you know if your gut's out of whack?
Yeah, so I think the most common symptom, right? So this is where you're getting in tune with your body. You're feeling some of these symptoms possibly, and really symptoms are just your body's way of talking to you. I wish our brain can go, hey, this is your spleen, I'm talking to you, or this is your lungs, hey, I have something going on. I wish we had that diagnostic in our body, but we don't. So we have to go with the way we feel. And so typically it is the gas and the bloating, but it can also be things you wouldn't think about in regard to a connection to your gut microbiome or your gut health, which is postnasal drip or eczema, hives. So a lot of these like allergy effects,
brain fog, fatigue, absolutely. A change in bowel habits as well. So these are all kind of warning lights that our body shoots out at us for us to then say, can I change nutritionally or in my lifestyle that can help make an impact on some of these symptoms?
And so are people understanding this more and more? I think people are so used to, so I go to the doctor, I expect a pill. And if the doctor doesn't give me a pill and they just say, oh gosh, really should have more raspberries and blueberries, then the client, customer, patient leaves thinking I didn't get any, advice or whatever. So are people starting to make the connection?
Yes, I would definitely. So again, food is the foundation. We're seeing a lot more people want root causes, right? So they want to understand the why. They want to then understand the how. So it's important to find those roots and not just kind of cover these big issues with a little band-aid or a pill or an over-the-counter kind of therapy that doesn't work long term. So it is definitely about long-term sustainable health and practices.
I think we're starting to move past that pill for every ill mindset, and people are understanding that, yes, there's a time and a place for them, but honestly, most of the time, if you're just depending on pills over lifestyle, you're going to end up having your own little pharmacy after a while and necessitate more for the other pills that you're taking. So we really want to integrate both when appropriate and when necessary.
Yes, I really understand that. And I just sort of want to reiterate to everybody, just like the very basics, eat the color of the rainbow. So that's a way to make sure you're getting everything that you need. So rather than just say, oh my gosh, I heard it was berries that are anti-inflammatory, just think of a varied diet of whole food, plant-based, so whole grains and lots of veggies and lots of colors and peppers and, bring in all the colors of the rainbow and you're off to a good start.